Let's have a look at Marcus Smith's goal kicking technique based off the 10 pillars of goal kicking. Number 5 is really interesting when it comes to Marcus's rodeo arm. Now this is a super powerful position. If we think about a backswing in golf, I really love this forward tilt that we see. You can see that energy is really starting to lean forward. Number 1 is mindset, and as we can see, Marcus is really locked in. Mindset is unique to the kicker, so how you get yourself into the best mindset, breathing, focus to take the kick is a personalized process, so make sure you have something to get you locked in. Next up, we're having a look at ball setup, so let's have a look at the seams that we've got on this kick. Based on the seams of the ball, it looks like we're just starting the ball just outside that right upright, which is really natural for a right foot kicker, where you can get that nice draw back to the middle of the posts. A lot of UK kickers like to use these low kicking tees like the RB Wolf. Leaning that ball forward really exposes the sweet spot at the back of the ball. You can come in and really smack it. So from ball setup, we have a look at that long target. So how well do we get through to our target? How I measure it is in the top of our follow through, is this kicking foot and our body really engaged with that target that we had, which was just that right post. So is our body saying that that is where we're committed to? That's what our full kicking process, everything that we're trying to do is starting at that target, and as we can see here, Marcus is really committed to that line. Number 4 is about our approach to the ball, so how well and how consistent are we in this process. I really like this little rhythm step that he takes at the start. Really key to make that consistent. Make sure that this distance of step and the energy that we take on that first step is consistent. If it's too big, if it's too small, it can really throw us out. By the time we get up to the ball, our plant foot can be either too cramped or too far away. So nailing that first rhythm step is really important to becoming a consistent kicker in your approach. So as we build out of that rhythm step, I really love this forward tilt that we see. You can see that energy is really starting to lean forward, starting to build up, keeping that chest and the hips strong. A lot of kickers really collapse and sort of lose their hips a little bit too much. So this is really good to see positive energy coming into the kick. And as we get closer to the ball, that approach is super nice with building energy slowly, like a plane taking off, and getting into that plant foot really, really strong. That gets us into number 5, which is rodeo arm. As we can see here already, that rodeo arm is starting to build some energy in that left shoulder for the kick. As we're getting into our plant foot stride, that's where that strength comes in. Marcus actually doesn't have the most open rodeo arm I've ever seen. Quite often we see kickers really getting back here and opening up their chest towards their target, but I think the reason for that is the angle of the plant foot, but we'll get into that when we get to the plant foot. So focusing still on rodeo arm, pre-impact and at the time of impact, where is it? At the time of impact, rodeo arm is really strong coming across the body. Sometimes we do see kickers chopping down that really compress their technique. So if this rodeo arm can stay up here parallel to the ground, it means that this upper body can stay really strong, hips can stay strong, and that's perfect for how we want to be making contact with the ball and where rodeo arm wants to be. From rodeo arm, it gets us into plant foot, and Marcus has got that nice little 30 degree that commonly shows up. If that's the target line, you can see that Marcus's foot is around about that 30 degrees back in towards the ball. This is really common when it comes to right foot kickers. Now we look at kicking foot and our hips. So what position these two get into and how strong are they? Now this is a super powerful position. If we think about a backswing in golf, look at how much energy we can create from this point. If we chuck some angles on there at the height of Marcus's backswing, that angle there, 93, like that's a massive angle to be putting through. So it's a really good thing to review. If your foot's only getting to here or even lower, you can't generate the same power that Marcus is able to from this point. If we take all that forward to the time of impact, look at how strong and powerful we are through here. One thing that I really love is when that upper body stays strong rather than sitting on a little stool. Marcus's hips are really strong and powerful through the ball. The angle of the kicking foot is the same as that leg, so we're up through the back of the middle of that ball. That foot knuckle is going to be really strong. So this is a great position to be in, hips and kicking foot at the time of impact. One of my favorite things I love talking about is winning momentum in kicking, punt kicking, drop kicking, goal kicking. How I measure that is the half meter from impact, so plant foot here, the half meter on the ground that we get through. We've got to win this space and get through that, so that's what we're going to have a look at now. As we take this through, let's just have a look at how well Marcus stays in the kick. So on that hop leg, so he's a hop technique, so that plant foot hops from here. So Marcus has a hop technique in his follow through. That means that his plant foot goes from here and then hops forward on a 45 degree. It doesn't have to go directly straight, you don't have to hop straight. The natural kicking flow and process quite often means that that hop actually gets out on the 45 just to allow you to commit to the kick and get through to target. But if we have a look at things, from the time that Marcus hops and lands, his eyes are still staying down, so that's super cool to see that he's staying in the kick, staying focused and not letting those eyes come up too quick. So this is that common coaching cue of keep your head down. I prefer to stay in the kick and win momentum, mainly because that tells your body what to do rather than just your eyes. So we've done a great job of winning momentum, and that started at the time of impact. We've got through that half meter. Now staying in the kick for me just means keeping power on, so making sure that the energy doesn't come out of the kick. If we chase with our eyes too quickly, energy will come out of the kick. So Marcus does a great job staying in the kick, keep the power on, the body through. This nice little hop thing that he does is all those little cues and the feels when it comes to staying in the kick. To sum it all up, a rock solid goal kicking technique from Marcus. If there was any feedback from me, it would be just having a play around with Rodeo arm and seeing the effect that that has of getting that slightly more open. If we don't get that open, then sometimes we can block these kicks out to the right. I'd encourage you to build your 10 pillars of goal kicking, go through the process, and that's really going to help you make a bulletproof goal kicking technique.